day 1 of spring break and day 16 of the Great Hiatus. We hope everybody out there is doing well, is in good health, staying busy, staying sane, all that good stuff. Even though it's spring break, we're going to be with you periodically this week, checking in. And today we want to go back to the Instagram mailbag and answer a question. So this one comes from user Jaden S. Nelson, who asks, "What's your weirdest LP story?" Well, you know I love a good story, and you also know that some stories are so weird that this probably isn't the right format for them. And for those, you're probably going to have to wait until one day when I hire one of you to ghostwrite my authorized autobiography. But there is one story that's pretty weird that I would like to tell you, and a beautiful spring day like today makes me think of it. So sit back, get comfortable, and let me tell you the story of the March Around Midland. So I want you to cast your mind back to the spring, that magical spring of 2007, near the end of the first year at Lincoln Park, when we realized we had a problem. The problem had to do with phys ed. Now you might say phys ed has always been a problem at Lincoln Park, and that's true. But that year it was a particular problem because the gym was being renovated. So we'd gone all year without a place to have phys ed, and we were reduced to throwing balls around in homeroom to try to get people some extra PE credits. If you've ever heard me joke about the coordination of the average Lincoln Park student, well, a lot of my good material on this subject comes from those sad, demeaning experiences that I witnessed. So spring had come, the first year was rapidly winding down. No one was sure if our students, especially our seniors, had earned enough PE credits. That's when a fateful decision was made. To this day, I'm not sure who made it, but I am sure that I don't want to know who made it. The decision was that the entire student body of Lincoln Park, along with all its faculty, went on what history now records as the March Around Midland. Some people remember it as the Bataan Death March too. But I've always thought that was super disrespectful. Bataan was sexist because only guys got to march. This march was 100% co-ed. Picture, if you will, more than 250 students plus staff walking as a group from one end of Midland to the other on a beautiful spring day not unlike this one. Does that sound crazy to you? Maybe not. A little weird maybe, but also a little cute and an OMG, they're making me do this kind of way. Would it sound crazier though if I told you that we did this without any advance warning to anyone? Would it sound crazier if I told you that girls showed up at school that day innocently wearing dresses and even in some cases high heels and were told they were marching anyway? Which they did, a few of them, tearfully. Would it sound crazier if I told you that our procession was followed by a slowly driven pickup truck that served as the unofficial meat wagon of the march? That is to say, as soon as the legs of a frail art student, legs that probably hadn't walked this far collectively in their owner's entire high school career, when those legs finally gave out, the meat wagon was there to pick them and their owner up. By the end of the march, there had to have been 30 or 40 kids in the back of that truck, close to a fifth of the student body. What I remember most is the sound that people made when they gave up. It was like this. The limpest, saddest sound you can imagine. If leaves actually got depressed in the autumn and made a sound as they fell off the trees, knowing this was it for them, that the only two things that lie ahead are winter and death, not necessarily in that order, then this would be the sound that they would make. I don't want to make too much of that sound. But that sound, it's the kind of sound that could drive your captors to torture you. Of course, remember, I wasn't a captor. I was more like a UN observer. And what I observed that day as we walked from Lincoln Park down Virginia Avenue to what's now 4 Mile Daycare Center and around the track a couple of times for good measure and then back down Ohio Avenue all the way to the other end of Midland and back, what I observed that day might still be the single funniest thing I've seen in my 14 years at Lincoln Park. I laughed more that day than probably any other day I've ever worked here. In fact, I'm smiling now just thinking about this, thinking about angry barefoot girls in dresses and emo kids sweating under layers of hoodies and about how painfully slow the whole procession was. Trust me, If we'd been racing a funeral, there was no doubt he was coming in second. Thinking about that sound people made as they dropped. Ugh. Does anyone have photos of this? God, they must. I mean, cameras had been invented then. I don't want to see those photos, though. The pictures in my mind are more than enough. I've said many times over the years that I would have moved down here from Connecticut merely to witness that day, to see the march around Midland. And I stand by that statement, because even though I'm trying really hard right now, I don't think you can truly get a sense of this unless you were there. So that's the story of the march around Midland. It's really something, isn't it? Hey, get out yourselves today and enjoy some of this beautiful spring weather. And if you have a chance sometime this week, please do check in with any of the three of us. We would love to hear from you. Whether you have questions, whether you have concerns, whether you just want to say hi, any of those is a perfectly good reason for an email. We are building up to next Monday, April 13th, when we start things back up in earnest. But in the meantime, we're going to check in with you periodically this week of spring break just to see how things are going. We hope that you have a great rest of spring break and a great rest of day 16 of the Great Hiatus. We miss you guys. We can't wait to see you again very, very soon. Have a great rest of the day, everybody. Talk to you soon.